Hello, welcome to another episode of the Irish Fantasy Punts. Gonna go pure fast with the intro today. Get through it. Jamie, how you doing?
Good. How are you all getting on? That was a
Lightning
real
round.
Irish intro there. You really put the Irish accent on.
Yeah, I'm. See, I was in the pub last day, and someone said that's not a Mayo accent to me. I was like distraught. My English accent's obviously coming through that Shane loves to point out every now and then.
Yeah, nobody likes the English.
You're not supposed to say it on a podcast, man. There
We
might
are
be English people
neutral.
listening.
Well, look, if they listen to us, we like them, but in general, you don't have a real good reputation, lads. It's not. It's actually is your fault. I was about to say it wasn't, but come on, can't have that many colonies to get away with it.
Can't really go into politics too much at the minute with the old Russians kind of knocking on the door, you know?
Yeah, let's.
Well, they're not
talk
knocking
about
on the
that one.
door of Ukraine anymore. They've just gone into Ukraine now. But anyway.
No, let's not become a political podcast now.
We actually had a couple of listens from Russia one day. I was looking through where all the listens come from. I saw Russia. I was like, oh, we're really making it multinational, guys.
Fuck it, I like it.
Welcome, Russian friends.
It's like that Simpsons meme where it's like, I, for one, welcome our new overlords.
Yeah, that's been doing the rounds today. That meme. It was so funny. Another thing the Simpsons predicted, like, huh?
What you call it? The two boys were out drinking at the weekend, so that's why the podcast is a bit later in the week. They needed to recover a bit more.
Yeah, I'm too old for this shit now.
Once 30 hits, that's the end of alcohol.
That's it. Yeah, my body can't take it anymore.
And
2
Jamie's
more
also trying
years.
to like
2
recover
more
from.
years.
Jamie's also trying to recover from a massive Leeds humiliation to Liverpool last night. So anyone who follows the English Premier League, yeah, you can feel his pain.
Yeah. I was actually talking to my brother before this podcast, and I answered the phone. He's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine. Yeah, thanks." It's been a long day.
I just need a cuddle.
I was like, "There's war. There's Leeds." He's like, "But mostly Leeds." I was like, "Oh, 100% Leeds, to be honest."
Shane's a United fan, so his life is just always a joke at this stage.
Yeah, things have gone downhill fast, man, the last few years. I literally don't have a single team that I support anymore that has any chance of winning any silverware any year ever.
Yeah, you're just
Well-
a nostalgia man now. You have the Cowboys and Man United, so it's just all nostalgia.
But sure, look, I'm used to it. I'm an Irish soccer fan as well, Irish rugby fan. The only team that brought me any joy in the last few years has been the County Honda Premier by.
What the Premier League?
Yeah, I don't have that. I have kind of nearly teams. All my teams are just like, nearly winning. Well, Chelsea won the Champions League last year, so I have one, but that's about it.
England did well in the Euros.
Ah, fuck you. Pardon that. I can't. Sorry, people who don't like swearing. Sorry, that slipped out. I might actually go back and edit that. Just put a big, massive beep over the top of it. It'll be a new fun project for me. I'll be like sitting upstairs trying to watch telly later, and Neve will be like, "We turn off that laptop." No. I need to find a beep noise, get it in here. Where's my pen till I write down when I did that? Anyway, we're not going to keep talking about editing podcasts and my profanity. Let's dive into the NFL news that we're all here to talk about. The news is there is no news. We get to talk about Aaron Rodgers again. Aaron Jones converted 3.75 million roster bonus and 100,000 of salary into signing bonus for 2 years. Freed up 3 million of cap for the Packers, who inevitably are going to try and spend it on Aaron Rodgers, I assume. But we've been told now that Aaron Rodgers will have his decision into the Packers as soon as possible, which is basically just Aaron Rodgers staying in the news cycle. So we'll go to our resident Green Bay fan here for the update.
Green Bay. So yeah, like we're still in huge trouble here. It's still a lot of money down, but yeah, you're right. He's just freeing that up for Rodgers. Rodgers is quite happy being the entertainment value in the off season. It seems at the moment. I think every day he's either sending out Instagram posts, about people. Oh, I miss all the guys, even though he probably saw the guys last week. um, yeah, I just don't know about Aaron Rodgers anymore, to be honest.
It's tiresome. Like, it's so
Yeah.
annoying waking up every day to, Aaron Rodgers has, said he likes Tennessee. Aaron Rodgers has put up a new fence around his yard. What does this mean? He painted it green. Does that mean something?
Yeah, he's also seems to be a resident on the Pat McAfee show for some odd reason, nearly every single week. And I'm like, are you a co-host of this thing now? I don't think he wants to play football anymore. I think he literally just wants to be like a celebrity.
Yeah, he just wants the attention.
Yeah, I think to be just I'd nearly rather just get rid of him now at this point. But then he's Aaron Rodgers, and the season will start. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is class. I love this man.
I think we'll get into Aaron Rodgers and the Packers a little bit more in our free agent primer. Oh, I didn't give you guys a rundown of what the show is actually today. We're going to do a bit of news here. We're going to do the trades that are appearing in our Dynasty League, and then we're going to talk about all the free agents that could possibly happen. So plenty of goodness today. Next on the news, ESPN Adam Schefter dropped somewhat of a bombshell on Wednesday when he replied, it's not a lock that Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded from the 49ers. Shane, we'll throw this to you. What do you think?
Sure, look, he's just saying what I've been saying. Anyone who's listened to this podcast since we've joined knows that this is a fact. A Shane fact. Stamp of approval on this. Schefter's just catching up. I had it in the back ear. I was on the phone to Shanahan a couple of weeks ago, man. I knew what was happening.
Shane and Shani. Shane's facts aren't to be confused with Jamie's fun facts. Shane's facts are more, I am right. This is what is happening.
Actual facts.
Mine are more fun. They're like unicorns in the sky.
Yeah, yours are useless knowledge.
That's cute.
Why are you talking about unicorns? How did you go down the way of unicorns?
Because mine are like really cute, fun facts. Where they're like, oh, look at that, it's so nice. And Shane's are like demons. They're like, bad facts.
You're basically just saying your fun facts are fictional because unicorns are fictional.
but so are demons. Demons are fictional too. Like,
hey, prove
they're not fictional. I get them from good sources, apart from that one. From that.
Oh, the Simpsons fact.
The Simpsons fact.
Yeah. You're already not credible.
My whole
he's
life
been a fantasy analyst for 2 weeks and he's not credible.
He's literally lost all his credibility in 2 weeks. Schefter's just given me credibility. You have lost yours.
Jameis Winston is reported to be staying in New Orleans, according to people in the league. We'll get into Winston a bit in our free agent primer as well, but it's kind of meh. Don't really know what to say about that news.
I was kind of actually shocked by this, Dan. I didn't think that he would want to stay number one without Peyton. And two, I thought he's like, there's so many other guys on the market who are probably just as good as Winston and probably cheaper, that it's a bit of a shock if he does stay. But if they're happy to keep him, more power to him.
Yeah, we'll break it down a bit more when we go through all the quarterbacks and talk about Winston a bit more. But there's probably a decent market for QBs anyway. So he must be getting paid. There must be a decent offer on the table anyway for him to stay. And the last bit of news we have then in the quiet news section is Jarvis Landry of the Browns was asked to take a pay cut. I think he basically told the Browns he will not be taking a pay cut. He can either be cut for 1.6 million dead cap, or they can pay him the 16 million. But Jarvis Landry's kind of an advantage there because he either gets paid 16 million or he gets to negotiate a new contract with a new team and get multiple years of money. So either way, Jarvis Landry's kind of laughing with this one.
Yeah, he didn't like that. He sent out multiple tweets about that and everything, didn't he? He was not.
Oh, did he? He really laid into them.
Yeah, he was not happy about that. Which is fair enough, No one's going to go ask you to take a pay cut. Like, no.
Yeah, could you imagine if your boss came into you and said, "Just take a pay cut there"?
No.
Don't really feel like that.
Uh,
Anyway, we're
yeah,
gonna move on from Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. If they're looking
Shane, you
for
got something to hop in there real quickly?
Yeah, if they're looking for him to take a pay cut though, like if they do get rid of him, like if they're looking for Landry to take a pay cut at the money he's on, are you really going to go into free agency and try pick up someone half decent? Like, kind of leaves the Browns wide receiverless. But I don't know. There's a few guys in the wide receiver market that maybe could go there, but I think it's a healthy one. Maybe that'll push down the price a bit of some of the better guys. The fact that there's so much talent there this year at wide receiver.
I'd have the opposite take. I don't think there's much talent there at all, but we'll get into that argument when we get to that section of the show. But yeah, no, that'll be an interesting debate now on these receivers. We'll move on to the trades that we've seen in our Dynasty League this week. So, well, it's actually not. It's probably 2 weeks because we didn't talk about the trades on the Super Bowl week. But it's been kind of quiet in the last few weeks. We were talking off air that I'm going to have to start like incentivizing trades to get people making more content for us here, because otherwise we're going to be just kind of talking about, I don't know, soccer the whole time. And nobody wants to listen to an NFL podcast about soccer. I'll shoot out the first trade to you then, Shane, and you can tell me what you think. And then, Jamie, you can have your opinion afterwards. So Kai Undergrace has acquired Mike Evans and a 2022 second round pick. So the 10th pick of the second round for Devonta Smith. So Mike Evans and the 210 for Devonta Smith. What do you think?
I can see what's going on here. Taking Devonta Smith for the long haul. You're hoping he's going to get better and better and better as time's gone on. I think with the Philly quarterback situation, though, that's not really a high chance of that happening at the minute. Whereas Mike Evans, he's lost Tom Brady. Who are they going to get in? But on the other side of the Mike Evans thing, Godwin is now a free agent. So Mike Evans is probably going to see a lot more ball from whoever comes in, and you're getting a pick with it. I think whoever got Mike Evans and the second round pick has won that trade there for me. I can see why they've done it, though. It makes a lot of sense either way, whatever you're looking to do. But at the moment, I value Evans a lot higher than what I value Devonta Smith at the moment.
Yeah, it's been up in the air, though. You have to think who's going to be the Bucs quarterback. That's where your trade value is coming here. But yeah, you'd probably take Smith at the moment until you're kind of sure. Fantasy football, you don't want to be taking a chance on these things. You want to make sure you have a player who's going to start getting you points. And like Smith, he is one for the future, so he's going to get you points next year. Evans is a guaranteed number one in Tampa, but again, it depends who that quarterback is. Because obviously it's not going to be Tom Brady-esque. But if you can get someone who likes to throw the ball or is good at throwing the ball, he's going to be a top man for you next year. That's the trade for next year.
Yeah, apparently the Bucs have been quite aggressive in their quarterback pursuit. So it'll be interesting to see what quarterback they come out with at the end of it. But there was hope as well they could get Tom Brady back out of retirement. But with this trade, I think because Evans doesn't have a quarterback at the minute, the 210 to me is you've got like a 20% chance of getting a usable fantasy asset with that pick. It's quite late in the rookie picks. And then that combined with Mike Evans, I'd prefer to have Devonta Smith just purely because I'm going to get 12 years of Devonta Smith, hopefully. Mike Evans, I'm probably going to get another... How old is Mike Evans? Is he like 30? Might get another 2 or 3 years out of him. I could be completely wrong. I know Mike Evans has had like 1,000-yard season every season he's played and probably disrespecting him a lot there, but I still think I want the youth of Devonta Smith.
Yeah, as a man who had Chris Godwin last year, Evans is a pain in the arse because he'll just take points for
you. Yeah, no, look, I get where you're both coming from with Smith, but Mike Evans, man, I don't think it mattered throughout the years who his QB was. Dan said it there. He's had 1,000-yard seasons every year. So I don't think a QB change is going to hurt him that much. He showed under Winston when he was there. He was a jump ball guy as well as a great route runner. He makes space for himself, and if there is no space to be had, he can go up in double coverage and take down the ball. So Devonta Smith hasn't shown any of that. I know it's only his rookie year, but his quarterback is a guy who likes to run the ball. He doesn't see the field very well from what I've seen of him, and I just think Evans is the better asset. I know Smith could get better; they could change quarterback, but for me, right now, if you're in a win now position, Mike Evans is the guy you want, not Devontae Smith.
That'll bring us on to the next trade. Then the next trade's it's a very interesting one. So Cameron Voss, he's been on the show before. Hello, Cameron. Please come back and do an episode with us again. We miss you. Brandon Ayuk for Kareem Hunt and the injured Michael Gallup. So Ayuk for Kareem Hunt and Michael Gallup. Jamie, how we looking on this one?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Ayuk started to play a bit better towards the end of the year. Like, he was a fantasy nightmare last year. He was just in and out, and everyone expected to kind of break away at the start of the season, and he just never did. He was in. I know in our league, and he was in and out of free agency the whole time. And myself and Shane had many a chat about pick up Ayuk. We won't pick up Ayuk. Pick up Ayuk. Don't pick up Ayuk. He was just one of those players. But he did start to get a lot more ball as the playoffs came. He looked a bit better. But I suppose that depends if Garoppolo is going to stay as well. Himself and Garoppolo seems to be getting that bit of a connection going. Does Lance have that connection? Is Lance going to play? I don't know. Michael Gallup is a fantastic wide receiver. Seamus spout everything about Michael Gallup in 2 minutes. I'm sure of it. And like Kareem Hunt, good running back. The Browns like to run the ball, but he's behind Chubb. Do you really want to draft a running back 2 there? But you can see the trade. It's fair enough. I think that's a fair trade. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is a bit I don't know how to feel about it. I'm a big Brandon Ayuk fan. I like Brandon Ayuk. I was the one who actually ended up finishing with him in our fantasy league this year, and I had him all last year. But Ayuk said himself at the start of this year he put up a bit of muscle to try and bulk himself up a bit for the league, and it slowed him down. He felt he had to adjust to his game, but what killed him also at the start of this year was Debo, who wasn't really any good last year, was very good this year. And Debo got a lot of ball. So that's obviously, you're going to lose targets off of that. As Jamie said, Ayuk started picking up big time in the playoffs and at the end of the year. So he's a great asset to have. But I don't know, could I give up Kareem Hunt and Gallup? Gallup is a big one for me just for where he's going to land. He won't be back in Dallas. They're not going to shell out the money he's looking for. So depending on where he's going to go, the uncertainty around him, fair enough that Ayuk wins that part. But Kareem Hunt for a second string running back in the league, he must be the highest point scorer of any second string running back in league history in fantasy.
Yeah, he doesn't even feel like a second string. He feels like what? Like he must finish top 24 every year, does he?
Oh, I'd say handily, yeah. But like he's behind Nick Chubb, who's fantastic. But he's so effective to have on your team. Like, was it 2 years ago? When he first went to the Browns, I had him on my team, and he was insane. Like, now there was a couple of weeks where he got only 5-6 points, but the majority of the weeks you had him, he was 10, 15, 20 plus points. Like, so
yeah, weirdly enough, he tends to score more with Chubb on the field. Chubb seems to be in between the 20s, and the Kareem Hunt comes in and scores the touchdown.
Yeah, like it's a big piece to give up, but I think I'd rather take Hunt and Gallup, but I'd be more of a guy who'd like to have stronger running backs than stronger wide receivers. I think wide receivers are very inconsistent apart from the very top guys. So I take the Kareem Hunt Gallup deal, to be honest, over Brandon Ayuk. And I love Ayuk. I can't believe I'd go down that route, but I would.
Yeah, it's a hard one to kind of feel which side you'd land on, purely because Ayuk is kind of an annoying player after last year. You don't really know what you have. You're taking a bet on a talent there, and you're giving up you are giving up Kareem Hunt, who is a great player, but you also don't really know what Michael Gallup is after the injury and where he'll end up. And is he good enough to be a 1? Is he always going to be a 2? It's an interesting trade. I'll give it that, and I'd say it's quite balanced. The next trade we have, these trades all involved Kai Undergrace, so he's actually done a lot of work here in the last few weeks. But
Man deserves a round of applause.
Okay.
He's getting business done in all of these leagues. He's not sitting around.
Our fantasy team of the week.
So Eli, the IT guy, has received Cooper Kupp, and he has sent Hunter Renfrow and Devonta Smith to Kai Undergrace. So I'd say Kai Undergrace probably had Devonta Smith on his team for about 10 minutes and sent him out on the first trade. But anyway, Cooper Kupp for Hunter Renfrow and Devonta Smith. I'm not even sure actually if this is Kai Undergrace might be in a couple of leagues, so this could be a different league altogether. He might just really, really like or really, really hate Devonta Smith.
Well, hey, if it is the same league and he has picked up Devonta Smith and he's got Mike Evans in, I think he might have actually been really smart here, because I like Cooper Kupp, right? But Cooper Kupp, from body of work of what he's shown us, he's been a very average guy. Last year was an outlier. So is this a great time to sell high, get in Hunter Renfrow, who had a good season, solid, consistent numbers, and Mike Evans? And then he is Micah Gallup coming in. There's a lot of solid guys coming in, and he's picked up a great running back in Kareem Hunt. So this is all good business by him, I would say. And I like the idea of selling high on Cooper Kupp at the minute, because is it just an outlier year and you've picked up 2 guys who are solid and you've turned Devonta Smith into Mike Evans? So for me, if that's the same league, the way I'd be looking at that is you've got Hunter Renfrow and Mike Evans for Cooper Kupp, and you got a 2nd round pick. That's pretty good going for me.
You would have also added Michael Gallup and Kareem Hunt in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
or
but
that would have been that's Ayuk gone as well.
Yeah. But like, that's a solid trading right there. I like that. That's pretty good on it. I think I was actually on his side for all the trades so far as well. I was on his side for the other 2.
Yeah,
Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, you like his thinking. When you kind of talk about like that, it makes a bit sense. But no, I'm not trading away Cooper Kupp. Like, there's too much upside there. He was the wide receiver 1 by a good distance, I'd say, this year, was he?
Yeah.
I'm not giving up on Kupp that quick. John, you don't go from a record-breaking year and just fall off the cart altogether. It's not going to happen. Now, yeah, I can see where he's coming from. Where you have like Hunter Renfrow, who is the wide receiver 1 there, the Raiders at the moment, did really well the last few games of the Raiders. Was the man catching all the touchdowns for the last few weeks. You've got a lot of upside, as we already talked about, with Devonta Smith. So, I can see where he's coming from. I definitely can. And he's obviously put a lot of thought into these trades. He definitely has. But I just would not let Kupp go. But saying that, I am the kind of person who likes to hold on to a player. I get very emotionally attached to someone. And if I had Cooper Kupp last year, the man would never leave my team ever again, even if he retired.
Yeah, by the looks of it, I'm looking at I have his roster pulled up on the screen for us here, and it does look like this is all one series of trades he's made, because all those players are currently on his roster.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred to have had Kupp personally. I don't think it's a flash in the pan even, because I think the QB changed and Matthew Stafford seems to love him. Sean McVay is there. I know next year the Rams might not be as prolific as they were this year, but I still think that Cooper Kupp will get it done again next year. He might not be the same level, but even if he's 80% of what he was this season, it'll be another great year, in my opinion.
Yeah, but looking at his team there, if you look at like his running back situation, like Kareem Hunt was a massive. That was a massive add, and then even if you go to his wide receivers, like his wide receivers having Allen, Evans, Lockett, Renfro. He now has Gallup added into that. And then like he has Tony Pollard and Lenny Fournette, but I can understand why you're a bit skittish on Fournette, the fact that he's a free agent, but that's a healthy team. That'll be a team now next year. I'd like to come back to at the end of the season and see where he finished up. I reckon that's a solid championship contending team.
No, I think you're
It's,
trading Cup, you trade for the running back. Like, if he's going to trade away Cup, get in a top running back. I know what you're saying about Hunt, but I just don't like bringing in guys who are running back twos, even if he is Kareem Hunt. I need that player to be a running back one. And for
what running back are you going to target with that kind of asset? You have Cooper Kupp there. Who would you actually go into? I know every trade doesn't really work like that, and it's in a vacuum. You can pick up whoever you want, but Cooper Kupp, are you looking Kamara, Dalvin Cook? That sort of maybe Austin Eckler. You probably get Eckler plus.
You probably could, you could.
You really undervalue Eckler, the two of you, though. The two of you undervalue Eckler so much. You will not get Eckler. It would be a straight up trade, maybe a late draft pick, if that's the way you're going. But you're not going to get 2+ players for Cooper Kupp.
Well, if Eckler is one of them. Eckler in a second round for Cooper Kupp. I would have thought you could. Swing
I would agree with that, yeah, but I would not agree with Eckler and another player for Kupp. I think that's way too much.
Yeah. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that you could get Kupp and you could have sorted out his running back position quicker and easier.
No,
it was convoluted, but it gave us something to talk about.
Basically.
Are we good for free agents? Will we move on?
Yeah, let's shoot.
Yep.
Yeah. If we had a cool theme now, we go in do free agents.
Free agents.
They're in the market.
So someday we will have sounds in a theme.
Well, I know what you're on about, man. I didn't say anything.
Edit that out, Dan.
Okay, we'll start with the quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't know what the hell you were talking about, Shane, with a good quarterback market. Did you say it was a good quarterback market?
No, not the quarterback market. I said the wide receiver market. Get your facts right.
Oh, yeah, that was it, yeah. So I'm going to run through these names and we can talk about them quickly because we're not going to want to talk about these guys. Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe Fitzpatrick would be interesting. Washington didn't really get him this year. Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky, and I'm not going any lower because they're all terrible.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Cut it off there.
Yeah, there's no need to talk about Chad Henne.
Big Mike Glennon.
Shut up, Teddy.
So the teams we have needing a quarterback are the Panthers, the Broncos, the Texans, the Colts, the Vikings, the Saints, the Steelers, the Bucks, and the Commanders. That's the first time I've said Commanders, so I kind of stumbled with it a little bit. But here's a hint. In the teams in need of the position, the Texans will appear in every bracket we talk about, so there's no real need to worry about the Texans too much. Can anyone see any good options for any one of these teams from this list?
Break down the teams first. Out of all those teams, who's the teams you'd want to go to as a QB? Like for me at the minute, I'd be looking to see, can I get into the Steelers or the Bucks? The rest of them ain't really for me. The Vikings aren't going to move from Cousins. The Broncos, they're not a good organization though at the minute. They're not a team that you'd want. Like for these guys, yeah, a bit part manage the game kind of guy. The Broncos are a great team. But for like someone like Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Jameis Winston, the kind of guys who want to get to a good team and play at a high level, like I'd be looking at the Steelers or the Bucks to be the only the teams that came in for me that I'd be really looking at saying, yeah, I'll jump at that even if they're offering me 2, 3, 4, 5 million less than what the next team is. Especially someone like Cam Newton. He's mad to get back as a starting QB. I think he'd take a veteran minimum deal to go to one of them sides.
Yeah, you think the Bucks would be their number one stop shop, after so recently winning a Super Bowl. There's a team there, if you can, not, you're never going to be Tom Brady, but if you be a half Tom Brady, there's a playoff team there. Out of that list, you're not really looking at much, really, are you? Cam Newton, probably the
No.
standout. Teddy, maybe Winston.
None of
Other
these
than that,
teams, none of these teams are getting you in the playoffs. Like none of these players are getting you in the playoffs at
no, they're
all.
not really.
I disagree with the Broncos point, Shane, because I think the Broncos have Javonte, Melvin Gordon, then they have Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. They've Noah Fant at tight end. I think the offense is ready to go. They might need a bit of help on maybe the DBs, but I think if you had a good quarterback and you put him in Denver, the team's ready to go. The only issue is there's no quarterbacks on the list that would be able to do anything.
Yeah, like
What are you gonna
realistically,
put?
what's there? What's better than what Teddy Bridgewater was last year for him? Like you're gonna
Nothing.
go,
Yeah.
yeah, like Tyrod Taylor. Like I will say, right, if I was moving on from Teddy Bridgewater as the Broncos, I would look at. There's three guys there who stand out to me that can give you a chance if they play at the level they have played at in the past, be it for as little a time as it was. Like Jameis Winston, top touchdown scorer one year, also had the top INTs that year. Cam Newton, MVP caliber. He's not going to get back to that, but can he get back to a shadow of that? And Fitzmagic is in the name. It's Fitzmagic. Can he play that magical football that we all love to watch for a full season? Probably not, but it's a shot in the dark, but they're the three main guys I'd be looking at if I'm leaving Teddy Bridgewater behind.
Yeah, I do like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's nothing spectacular, but he will get the job done for you. He's no nonsense. He's not going to cost you games, at least. If you're looking at the list, you're probably taking Ryan Fitzpatrick or Teddy Bridgewater. Your two big guys. Teddy Bridgewater is probably just going to go to the Broncos. There's no one else there really that the Broncos are going to really take on, because Winston will probably go back to the Saints. We were talking about earlier on. So then you're kind of looking at, let's say, Newton and Fitzpatrick, and better the devil, at times. So so the Broncos will probably save Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's kind of the situation as well, though. Like, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with any of these quarterbacks. So it's almost, what's the point? Are we going to bring Mitch Trubisky back out of obscurity and try and win something with him? Like, you're not going to. Even if you put Trubisky on, say you put Trubisky on the Colts, how is that any better than what Wentz was this year? Say you put Trubisky on the Steelers, surely Haskins is probably as good. It's like there's no inspiration in this list of quarterbacks at all. I think if any of these teams want to make a move at the position, they need to go and trade for someone, because there's nothing else here.
I would like to see Cam Newton get one more chance at a half decent offense. I think his head is in the right place now. He's not full of himself as much as what he was. I think he really wants to go out and win. And I just think with a full training camp underneath him, maybe he performs better than what he did last year. I don't know, I'm probably completely wrong, but it's just I've always liked Cam Newton, and I would like to see him get one more shot at somewhere half decent. I think the Steelers would be a great fit for him. Loads of options, decent running game. Big Ben out of the picture. Defense is fairly solid. I would like to see him go to the Steelers in particular out of everyone on that list. That would be my dream matchup off that list.
I could see him going to the Bucks. I feel like he fits in there. I don't know. I don't know. I have no I have no reasoning to be quite honest, but I can just picture him in the Bucks uniform.
Yeah, the Bucks might try, and the Bucks have to try, and they have the roster. They need to try and squeeze one last go out of this before the window closes. But I don't think they'll get it done with this list.
I think he's that big name that they're kind of looking for in a quarterback, to keep that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Words are gone.
Keep them competitive. But
yeah,
Mac Jones beat him out this year is the issue. What is it? Does he have anything left in the tank?
Well, Mac Jones didn't really beat him out, did he? They kind of just drafted him and basically said, like, yeah, we'll give him a chance to compete. And then, like, he was gone early on in the training camp. Like Cam Newton, I don't think he was given much of an opportunity at all. Like, Where did he end up finishing this year, Cam Newton? He ended up going back to Carolina, wasn't it?
Yeah, he went back to
And
Carolina, and then they benched him again.
Yeah, a significantly run-heavy offense with Robbie Anderson, who's not very good, and Moore at the other side, who is, to be fair, fairly good at him. But he had no McCaffrey for most of the games he was there. It was, I'd like to see him get a shot in another decent offense and see how he goes.
We'll move on to the receivers then, and I should have put a disclaimer at the start of this section. The franchise tag is still there to be used, so any of the players we can talk about here could be franchised at any given moment in the next 2 weeks, but a lot of them I wouldn't say will be franchise tag. But the guy at the top of the wide receivers list is heavily thought to be a candidate for the tag. So we have Devontae Adams, then there's Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, OBJ, Michael Gallup, Allen Robinson, Christian Kirk, Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Chark, Emmanuel Sanders, Jacoby Myers, AJ Green, Alan Lazard, Will Fuller, Sammy Watkins. I think we can probably cut it there. It gets a bit weak, but John Ross is at the bottom of the list, just so everyone knows. And then the teams we have looking for the position would be the Falcons, the Bills, the Bears, the Browns, the Packers, the Texans in every section, of course, the Colts, the Jags, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Pats, the Saints, the Jets, and the Bucks. So, Jamie, kick us off with the Devontae Adams talk.
Well, Adams is going to Green Bay. That's the plan anyway. And you can see, but Jane, I don't know why you're
Jamie
laughing.
fun fact or a Shane true fact?
It's probably a Shane true fact, I would say. But you can see what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create the cap to bring back Rodgers and Adams. I am not saying that is the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's exactly what they are trying to do. So whether they tank the rest of the team by doing it, which they could very well do, but that is exactly what to do because that's what the Packers fans want to happen. So they just want to keep everyone happy. So they're like, what's the easiest way to keep everyone happy? We bring Adams, we bring back Rodgers. I'd be very, very, very surprised if he wasn't a Packer, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not much to really say on Devontae Adams. We all kind of think he's going to get tagged, and that's going to be it, really.
Yeah.
Oh, they bring back Adams and Rodgers, like Green Bay over. What is the penalty for being over the cap? Because even if teams, right, if they do that, right, and they look to trade, but if they look to trade players, nobody's going to give them a fair valuation for any player that they go for to offload, because you go for like Zadarius Smith, a guy who's probably first round pick, second round pick kind of guy, good defensive player. You look to offload him. I'm not giving you more than a fourth or a fifth for him because you're in cap hell and I can afford him and you can't. So take it or leave it. And then Green Bay are even more down the rabbit hole in 5 years' time where they have fuck all picks.
I just googled what the penalty for being over the cap is. You have to sacrifice your favorite unicorn, apparently. There you go, Jamie.
I like it.
Not the fun facts.
No, Devontae Adams to me, Devontae Adams to me, I think he will not sign a tag. He wants the most money he can get. I can't say I fault him for it. It's probably his last big contract he's going to get, and it's going to be the Jags, the Dolphins, or the Jets that end up paying him. And I reckon he's gone. I cannot see him staying.
He's not going to the Jets. Why do we just say this every week?
If you want money, man, the Jets will give it to you.
I would just give up watching football if he goes to the Jets. Okay.
The Jags would be a great place.
The Jags,
I think the next. No. I think the next guy on the list is probably I'd have him going to the Jets. Chris Godwin. He's coming off the injury. He is the exact player the Jets would go and pay. Like if we look at the Jets cap situation, they have a lot of money to spend and they need a receiver. The Jaguars the same, so I could see the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Jaguars all competing heavily to go after him. Shane?
Yeah, I'd agree with you 100% there. Godwin, good receiver. He is number one receiver quality. Great addition for any team that does pick him up as long as he can stay healthy. I like the looks of the Dolphins of Waddell. I don't know would they invest that much money into another receiver, seeing as they have a young rookie who's not costing them a whole lot. But I could see them go more for a guy like Allen Robinson or Gallup or a Juju, someone who's not going to be as expensive, maybe for that department. The Chargers, I think, are going to bring back their guy who's on that list, and the Jets. I could see the Jets, man, and the Seahawks. Oh, maybe not the Commanders and the Broncos. Maybe going for another one. The Bears as well. The Bears are going to need a big wide receiver pickup, and it is not
The
going to
Bears
be the
might
guy
be
that just let
just
go.
about able to afford him. If the Bears give him, say, 18, 19 million a year, they might just get it in.
No, I don't think they'll do it though, because they're losing Akeem Hicks too off the defense, as we'll talk about later, and they're going to need to pick up some defensive guys. So they'll be another team that'll probably go for the lower down wide receivers, like an AJ Green or an Emmanuel Sanders, someone who's good, but they're kind of past their best. I reckon that's the Bears' kind of targets at the minute.
Jamie, anything on Godwin?
No, I think you kind of covered. Shane kind of covered everything there. But yeah, like Godwin's very good. So he's obviously going to go to one of the top, or not the top teams, but the top cap teams. The only time the Jags ever got a top team. So you could probably see him say with the Chargers have a lot of money there. It looks like Mike Williams is out the door. He's probably not going to be re-signed with them. Chargers would be a great pickup for the Chargers.
That transitions nicely to Mike Williams there, Jamie. You're doing my job for me, so you can talk about Mike Williams for a second. Where do you think he could end up on this list?
As a fantasy man, I love Mike Williams. So I couldn't. Except when he tanked Keenan Allen on me this year. But other than that, he's a good man. Mike Williams is a very good wide receiver. I don't think he gets the credit that he really deserves. I would love to see him go to somewhere like say the Jags, or Jags, if Lawrence could get it together, or even
what about the Raiders? How much cap do the Raiders have? Do the Raiders afford him? The Raiders, he's probably perfectly in their price range. 18 million in cap. How much would you have to pay Mike Williams? 12 million a year, maybe?
Yeah.
I think Mike Williams go take a big bite of the pie this year, man. I think he's number one talent. Jamie's alluded to that there, and there's only about four guys there who are probably still got number one talent left of them. Top four dudes on the list, who we're getting to the next one there now in a couple of minutes.
I think Mike Williams sneaks into this kind of top bracket. It's like there's the Adams, Godwin, and Williams are the three. So we think Adams is going to be tagged, Godwin, and then probably Williams. But then we can probably talk about OBJ and Michael Gallup together. Like OBJ coming off the injury, Michael Gallup coming off the injury. Is there going to be a big market for these two guys coming off of injuries? And they weren't nice injuries either. I think they were both ACLs, weren't they?
Yeah, Gallup had a bad one.
I wouldn't imagine to see OBJ again, to be honest. I know he wants to play, but he's not going to be half the player he is. He's done the same knee twice. He could be a nice pickup for, say, one of the lower teams, like the Jets or someone like that. Because it might, but he's not going to go cheap then either. So you're probably going to pay a wide receiver 1 money for someone that's probably going to be like a wide receiver 3 level at this point. Just with the injuries, obviously he's a very good wide receiver, but with the injuries, he's just not going to be that good anymore.
I think
there's talk of the Rams wanting him back.
Oh yeah, but they're in cap hell as well, then, Dan, aren't they? Like they are one of the worst cap teams. Like,
should be
21 million over the cap.
Yeah, and that's with all them free agents leaving, though, isn't it? Like, that's without Von Miller, without OBJ, without Higbee, like without those guys, they're that much over the cap.
Yeah, the Rams are this annoying team that just always seem to get out of cap hell, and eventually they're going to have to pay for this. I'm not an accountant, and I'm not a high enough level of an accountant that would be able to figure out this cap, because every time I think I understand the cap, someone restructures it somehow and end up having to pay money in 2029, and it just suddenly disappears. I don't know. The Rams just always seem to get around the cap.
Yeah, like OBJ is one of those strange players to me now, though. Like most guys want to go out, they want to get as much money as they can, and they don't like winning is secondary to getting big money. And people always say, well, why can't you get big money and win at the same time? Well, you can if you're the top guy in your field, you know. But like OBJ to me is becoming more of that guy who just wants to win. I don't think the money is as big of a thing for him anymore. He got paid a lot when he was younger in previous deals and between trades and stuff like that. He's got a lot of his signing bonus money up front, all that kind of stuff. So I think OBJ is more in it for the win than it is for the money anymore.
He has his win though. He has his ring now.
Yeah, but is he going to be hungry to come back? The fact he didn't finish that game, you know, he's got a taste of it now. He knows what good organizations are like between leaving New York when they were in hell.
Whoa. Are you saying the Browns and the Giants aren't good organizations?
I think that is what my comment alluded to.
Yes.
Well, the Giants definitely have a bit of good organization in the last, I don't know how many years now. And look, the Browns, they're on their way up. I actually like the Browns, what they're doing, but I think they might be after screwing it up.
Jamie, shoot out 3 destinations for me. I want a destination for Allen Robinson, Christian Kirk, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, Jesus. Ouch. God. Okay, right. I'm just going to go randomly, right? So
I'll pull the cap up for you so you can see as well. These lads aren't high. They're not going to be high. So Allen Robinson.
I'm going to say
he's
Robinson to the Texans, right?
I was going to agree. That's the exact team I was going to pull out. I think that fits perfectly. Christian Kirk.
I can see him there. Kirk, pull back up the teams there again.
Will do. Oh, sorry.
Who else was there? As I saw someone there. There the Browns might be a nice destination for him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Browns. A lot of cap room for them. 23 million, so they could easily afford Kirk. Kirk's only going to be like 8 million a year, I'd say, really. And then the last person I asked for was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju, not a bad wide receiver at all. Like, nice one for the Bills. So
that's a good shout. Actually, you put Juju in the slot for the Bills. Stephon Diggs on the outside. Who was the Gabe Davis? Then the other Y receiver wouldn't be a bad little receiving core there for Josh Allen. You haven't paid over for Juju Smith-Schuster either.
No, I think he'd be a good kind of replacement there because when Sanders is out, he'd be a good one to go in.
I think we'll move on to the running backs there because the other receivers it gets a bit it gets a bit nasty after that. There's no one. So
what he's trying to say is anyone down on that list that we didn't mention, you don't know who your names are, but quite frankly, you're useless.
Don't expect a big contract, boys, because you're not getting it.
Just take what you can, because it might be the last 1-year deal you ever get.
So the running backs, we have Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, Chase Edmonds, Cordero Patterson, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, J.D. McKissick, Sony Michel, Alex Collins, David Johnson, Darrell Williams, Ronald Jones, Rashad Penny. How is he a free agent? I feel like he hasn't played at all for the Seahawks. Jerick McKinnon, Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman, Boston Scott, Devonta Freeman, Justin Jackson, and Tevin Coleman for the New York Jets. I think realistically, we can probably cut this list off after David Johnson. I don't think we're going to need to talk about anything after that. So Leonard Fournette's the first option we have here. And the only team I have here really needing a running back is the Texans. I can't think of another team that's actually in need of a running back because it feels like you can just fill the running back hole with anyone these days and it works perfectly well. Shane, can you think of a good destination for Leonard Fournette other than going back to the Bucks?
Well, if the Seahawks lose both Collins and Penny, maybe the Seahawks, but they're another team that I think they don't have a whole lot of cap space to be paying boys. So yeah, maybe there. Other than that, yeah, you're fairly much right. Again, the Falcons, if Cordell Patterson goes, the Falcons need a running back. Maybe go to them, but they're not a great team either at the minute. Like, it's Fournette got out of a situation in Jacksonville to go to a team that could win. Is he really going to want to go back to a team that's not in the playoffs again for another couple of years?
Yeah, like he's had his run at it. He's got his ring. I suppose we could you put Leonard Fournette on the Bills maybe?
Bills
Bills
need a
bad.
good running back.
They badly need a running back. How much
Yeah,
cap do they have?
I think they probably have a
Miami.
decent
This
amount
is
of cap,
Miami
do they?
territory, actually, isn't it? Damn every one of us for not noticing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Miles
but
Gaskin, yeah.
They Miles Gaskin, they're fine.
No, they're not. the Bills have 6.5 million over the cap, so the Bills don't have a lot of room to play with there.
Yeah, but sure,
Which
look, a couple of restructures, you're out of that, and then pay a running back. Can you get, like, who's there? Like, look, James Conner, is he going to get a big payday? Raheem Mostert, like, the Bills have great options, I would say that, in this running back market. Guys who, are they going to get top running back money? Probably not. Are they good running backs? Yeah, there's a lot of talent there, like, for what you're looking for. They're obviously not guys that are Aaron Jones or Zeke or those caliber running backs, like, but they're good options to have. They're better than Singletary and Moss at the minute. A lot of what's on that free agents list.
Yeah, like say the Dolphins add Melvin Gordon, they have to Jalen Waddle. Are they suddenly interesting? It's hard to see Melvin Gordon really invigorating them much either. Leonard Fournette, Chase Edmonds, he's an okay running back, but I don't think he's going to carry a load all by himself. I just don't see anyone on this list blowing the Dolphins into a great position, nor the Falcons even.
No, it's an entire list of sub-average running backs, lads who are good, like running back twos that will play a game or two and do really well, like Justin Jackson and like say Chase Edmonds. Yeah, exactly that player. Sonny Michel, Rashard Penny when he came in for the Seahawks in the last year. So good.
James Conner's actually pretty far down on this list, and he's probably the best. Like, himself and Fournette are probably the best options on the list, I would imagine. Like, I think Conner will be re-signed by Arizona anyway. That's my own opinion. But if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going out and I'm looking for Fournette, Gordon, and James Conner, and then after that, I'm not really too interested in anyone else. Alex Collins, I'd have absolutely no interest in because he just had an awful season when the Seahawks even gave him the chance.
I think Cordell ends up staying with Atlanta. I don't see him going from Atlanta. He had a really good year there. They kind of schemed their playbook to suit him really well. He was the main focal point of the offense, really, even with Kyle Pitts in it, who everyone thought was going to be main guy when Julio went. But Cordell, for me, stays in Atlanta. I think you're right with Connor as well. I think he does end up staying in Arizona, especially if Edmonds is going. Mostert is probably the most interesting guy on the list outside of the Melvin Gordon and Fournette. Then he has had a season or two where he stayed injury free and been exceptional, but that's in a San Francisco team that knows how to run the ball really well. So is he a system guy or is he just good? It's a tough call with him as well.
Yeah, he kind of came into the 49ers as a bit of a nobody and then turned into a kind of an alpha dog and then just became injured and he lost
Mm.
2 seasons to injury, didn't he? So
Yeah, realistically, yeah.
it's hard to know what you have with Mostert and whether you can even trust him because he could get injured on the first game again. That could be the end of it. Sony Michel's an interesting name, though. He had a nice enough end of the year with the Rams. It'd be interesting to see does anyone make a move for him and try and pay him some money.
I don't like Sony Michel, man. I don't think he's good enough. He's very much a bit part player. You know, when he comes onto the field, he's more than likely a passing option, not a running back. For me, he's third string for a lot of teams out there. I don't see Sony Michel having a massive impact on most teams.
Jamie?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Like, like these are all backup running backs. So they're all decent running backs. Like Darrell Williams, he played quite well for the Chiefs when he got the chance. Justin Jackson did too. I like Justin Jackson. I think it's a good running back. Just not a running back one. So like, say for the Texans, if they're looking for a running back, they're not going to be looking at the likes of Jackson or Boston Scott or Jerick McKinnon or average ones. They want someone who's going to hit the ground running. So they're going to go pay high, try and get Fournette, try and get Patterson or Connor, or maybe Mostert. But after that, you're not really looking at much else unless you're looking for a backup.
So Ronald Jones and Rashad Penny might be interesting kind of wild cards in all this situation. Penny kind of came on strong last year, and Ronald Jones has had flashes. So it'll be interesting to see where they do land. If you put Ronald Jones in Miami, I'll probably buy into it. Like he'd probably be worth a 7th round pick in a redraft league. Ronald Jones if he's in Miami.
Jesus, no, I think Ronald Jones, man, in Miami. I think if he goes to there and he's RB1 there, I think you're looking at the dude's going to be a 5th or 6th round, maybe even higher.
You reckon he'd be that high? I thought I suppose 7th was probably a bit conservative, but
yeah, running back is
if I could
weak.
pay a 5th round.
Like running back is weak, and what a lot of people, me personally, what I look at when I look at a running back, I look for teams that aren't playing that. What do you call it when you have 2 more running backs who are constantly swapping in and out by committee? Teams that aren't doing running back by committee. They're the teams that I kind of look at. And he goes to Miami. I think he pushes Gesicki nearly out the door, and he can play 3 downs. He done it before Fournette showed up. I think Ronald Jones his price will go up anyway. I don't think he'd be 7th round anyway. I don't see him lower than 5th really.
Yeah, but is he much better than Myles Gaskin? He's not like.
I think he's a lot better, man. I think Myles Gaskin is a horrible running back.
He is a horrible running back. I can attest to that. He's a horrible running back. But Ron Jones is not much better. Like he's never he has a lot of hype. He's always has a lot of hype. Nearly every year he's been in the draft, and it's just he just never gives anything to you. You know, he never shows up anytime he gets the chance. I wouldn't replace him with Myles Gaskin because I think they're the exact same player, but bad.
Guys, we're going to do one more section of free agents here. We're getting really close to the hour mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up on tight ends for today. And then we're going to come back and do like a small section another day on who needs to fix their O-line and who needs to get some defensive players in just to try and sort out their teams. But I'll run through these tight ends quickly. So we have Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins, Dalton Schultz, David Njoku, Rob Gronkowski, Zach Ertz, CJ Uzama, Jared Cook, Evan Ingram, Max Williams, OJ Howard, I haven't said that name in a long time, Tyler Conklin, and I'll cut it off at Gerald Everett. And the teams we need to find people for are the Texans, the Jags, and the Titans. So I think the Titans will go hard after a tight end. It's just which tight end on this list do they go after, Shane?
I'm not been biased right here, but the Titans like solid guys who have good hands and they don't need to be big, mad downfield guys with the wide receiving core they have. And I think Dalton Schultz has shown he can block for the Cowboys. He's a good pass catcher. he is a good option. I think Schultz is like a perfect fit for the Titans. I think for what they'll be looking for in a tight end, Schultz is the guy they'd want. I don't really see anyone on that list who's a realistic target or someone who's not going to retire or stable who they already are with. I think Schultz is about one of the only guys that they will go for on that list.
Well, Schultz leave the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys aren't bringing Schultz back. He's going to ask for money they can't give him, and they have Jarwin signed up from last year before he blew out his leg. So Jarwin's going to stay. He's going to become the tight end one. A guy, if I'm talking Cowboys for a second, they are going to need another tight end, and a guy I would like to see come in there is OJ Howard. I'd like to see Howard Jarwin kind of compete. I think Howard would be cheap as well, but that's just me on my Cowboys. I won't do a JB on it, take over the whole podcast with the Cowboys.
You're going to take over the whole podcast. Was it the Packers?
Jamie, is there anyone that jumps out of this list for you then for the Titans? Any major people you think the Titans should go after?
Well, if there's Titans, yeah, most of them are like going to stay where they are. Like Gesicki's probably not going to leave the Dolphins, and Njoku, I'd be surprised at the Browns. Gronkowski is interesting because you don't really know where he'd end up. You know,
Retired.
Probably retired. Yeah, no, the Brady's gone. Realistically, and with Brady falling out with the Bucks, apparently he's not going back to the Bucks anyhow, but he probably will retire. Ertz, he'll stay at the Cardinals. Uzama,
yes.
I think so.
I saw an article where they were talking about the Cardinals franchise tagging Zach Ertz, and I was like, "There's not a million years in hell that's happening. We have to tag Chandler Jones this year."
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that can go so soon, though. You know, Uzama, he's definitely going to stay at the Bengals. The Bengals love him. He's a good player. Cook, always a decent tight end. The one player on this list now that I would like to see somewhere is Max Williams. I think he's a kind of an outlier there. You know, a guy who you'd like to see get a chance. I think he'd do well.
He started well with Cardinals last year, and then he blew his knee out, and you had a feel for the guy.
Yeah, like he was playing very well at that point. Same with Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin playing very well for the Vikings. You know, but I suppose
Conklin always has a good run every now and then, doesn't he?
Yeah. So, but I suppose if you're Texans, Jags, or the Titans, sure you're looking for whoever's left, and who is left there really. Probably is Max Williams or Tyler Conklin. Maybe Jared Everett. Wally Cox, he's an absolute giant. You know, he just throws really, really high. He's sure to catch him. Or Ricky Seals-Jones there.
No, Ricky Seals-Jones is useless. Let's not even go down that road. I think I would agree with what JB said on most of those players, bar Njoku. I think Njoku, with Hooper at the Browns, I think Njoku is going. I think there is no doubt about it. He's a really good tight end who has got a lot of upside. He's still young, and I think he's a big downfield threat for a team. Like, I think Tampa Bay might even come in for Njoku. The fact they go Brait and Njoku, then I think they would actually suit him. I think that could be a possible place where he could end up going if they come in for him.
I thought they were more invested in Njoku now than Hooper last year.
No, that like for like 2 games, and then that was it. He was back to the shadows again.
Obviously, the only 2 games to watch the Browns.
I think he's one of those players that the Browns are very frustrated with. He kind of the three tight ends that came out in that class, Njoku, Howard, and Evan Ingram, were all supposed to be world beaters and supposed to be the next 15 years at the tight end position, but they just all kind of poofed out, no problem at all. Like, just they've had tiny flashes, all of them, and none of them have given any of the promise. Were they all taken in like the first and second round that year?
Yeah, they were actually, weren't they? Evan Ingram, to be fair, up until last year and the last 2 years, last 2 seasons, he was fairly consistent for New York. He was showing promise then, and he's just gone off the boil. I think Danny Dimes don't do it for him. He needs a new QB, I think, badly. Evan Ingram, we've kind of brushed over him, but Evan Ingram will be an interesting one. I don't know, does he leave the Giants though? I can see him staying. I hope he doesn't, but I can see him staying.
I think
Well, if he goes chasing the Giants probably need a tight end.
Yeah,
I think the
facts.
Giants
Yeah,
need a
that's
lot
facts.
of things. Okay, I think after tiring ourselves out with the most boring tight ends in the world, it's not even that boring a list. It's just the tight ends are just so annoying to talk about when it comes to fantasy, because unless you have one the good three, it's not really worth talking about. I think we'll close out the show there, because if we start talking about more free agents for the defense and the offensive line, we're going to be here all night. But thanks for coming on, guys, and having a few chats with me about these free agents. And we'll come back next week, and hopefully we'll have more great content for everyone and a few trades. I think Kai Undergrace is going to trade his whole team for us, so we have more content for next week.
Yeah. Good man,
Yeah.
Kai.
My Kai.
The only Kai we like to talk about on this show. Dan, you better fix that league for him now, man. That's the only thing. The man giving us so much content. He needs a helping hand.
Okay, guys, we're going to close it out. Have a good week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.